PragerU videos are being assigned in Ohio public schools. Canada is ready to turn away asylum seekers and other immigrants, and the Biden campaign doubles down on their side of the Hunter Biden scandal. Before we get started with the news, if you're watching this video, I want to ask that you please go hit that subscribe button on my homepage, like this video, and share it with your friends. I don't have a marketing team or a big fancy studio, so all my traffic comes through you, my viewers. So what are you waiting for? It takes 2 seconds to go to my homepage and subscribe. If you like my content and would like to see more of it, if you want to be part of helping my channel grow, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, and share this video with your friends. And if everyone who watched this video shared it one time, I would be bigger than Joe Rogan by the end of the week. Okay, on to the news. So let's hop on over to this Huffington Post article, or HuffPost, whatever. Videos from right-wing news site that preaches the left ruins everything, assigned in Ohio school. PragerU videos were recently assigned in an Ohio classroom. Turns out the right-wing site is looking to further its influence in K-12 settings. An Ohio public school has been giving students extra credit for watching videos from PragerU, a right-wing website that produces clips of talking heads such as Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro discussing conservative viewpoints, HuffPost has learned. The PragerU videos, with titles such as Build the Wall, Why the Right Was Right, and The Left Ruins Everything, were assigned to a 10th grade history class at Maumee High School, along with a series of questions about the video's most important messages. The assignment came at the same time that the website has tried to gain further influence in K-12 classrooms. Earlier this month, the organization launched a program directly aimed at parents and educators, complete with study guides with sections such as Conservatives Are the Real Environmentalists and The Ferguson Lie, based on a HuffPost review of the materials. Fantastic. Well done, PragerU. And I mean that. Well done, PragerU. For too long, the political right has abandoned the shall we say the culture war. For too long, the right has focused only on politics and not enough on the culture. And so what this has resulted in is a left-wing dominated culture, and because politics is downstream of culture, right? So you got the culture over here, which the left has dominated, which trickles into politics. Now politics is beginning to become left-wing dominated. So, finally, someone has noticed Candace Owens, Dennis Prager, Ben Shapiro, all these big figureheads, Dave Rubin even, Jordan Peterson, although I wouldn't classify them as necessarily right-wing, is just more of a, hey, the left is going crazy. The left is going crazy. Andrea Cutway, the mother of 16-year-old student Avery Lewis, brought the assignment to the attention of Maumee City Schools administrators and immediately pulled her daughter out of the class. Maumee is about 10 miles southwest of Toledo. Administrators first tried what they deemed a compromise by also assigning work that reflected views of the other side of the political spectrum to the student, Cutway said. But after HuffPost reached out to the school about the assignment, it decided to remove the materials from the syllabus. Todd Kramer, superintendent of Maumee City Schools, told HuffPost. Other PragerU videos on its website dissect issues in 5-minute clips and have titles such as There Is No Gender Wage Gap, How to Steal an Election, Mail-in Ballots, and Is Islam a Religion of Peace? So for those of you who don't know, PragerU is kind of like the right's version of Vox, right? Vox is this pseudo-political culture agent. And so the PragerU would sort of be the same thing on the right. This is cultural change news site directed by or run by Dennis Prager. And so we get really big people on there, like Candace Owens is a main part of it. Let's see, you've had guests like Ben Shapiro, Larry Elder, all these other people. And so the idea that we can't have right-wing media in schools just goes to show how ensconced in our social institutions the left wing has become. Because I guarantee you, in most of these schools, they are also being showed clips from Vox. But now, we can't have clips from PragerU. If the past week has shown us anything, it has destroyed any remnants of any doubts that all of our institutions are run by the political left. And they are. 3/4 of American teachers in the public school system are openly socialist. I think that's quite the problem. That is way far beyond the 20% that it used to be, or the 30% that it used to be. The left is becoming more and more radical. And this Pew Research study proves it. Right? It's official. Democrats are the extremists today. Partisanship. Everyone knows that the country is more politically polarized than ever, but most don't know why. Data from the highly respected Pew Research Center provides a definitive answer. It's because Democrats have moved sharply to the extreme left. The Pew report, titled "The Partisan Divide on Political Values Grows Even Wider," is the latest in a decades-long series of surveys it is conducted to gauge people's views on various key issues, including the size of the government, immigration, corporate profits, race relations. The authors of the report note the division between Republicans and Democrats on fundamental political values reached record levels during Barack Obama's presidency. In Donald Trump's first year of president, these gaps have grown even larger. Given the way politics gets reported these days, it's easy to conclude that the widening gap is the result of Republicans become more extreme in their views. That is, after all, the mantra among Democrats and the press. The GOP is the party of racist, sexist, xenophobic, right-wing extremists. We hear it over and over again, while Democrats are but humble centrists. The Pew data, however, make it clear that the shift toward the extreme has happened among Democrats, not Republicans. So in 1994, Democrats and Republicans were very close together. Now in 2017, when this was released, really the Republicans have only moved a little bit to the right. But Democrats have moved far, far, far left, way down the political spectrum. This can be seen in dramatic fashion when you look at where the center of each party was in 1994 and where it is today. Pew used a 10-item scale of political values to determine ideological purity among those who claim affiliation with the two parties. The result show that while the Republican-centered moved only slightly to the right over the last 23 years, the center of the Democratic Party has shifted far to the left. See the nearby chart. Yeah. Take a look at specific value questions Pew asks, and you can see why. Pew asks, for example, whether poor people have it easy because they can get government benefits without doing anything in return. In 1994, 63% of Republicans agreed with this sentiment, as did 44% of Democrats. This year, 65% of Republicans agreed. 2-point increase, virtually the same. While just 18% of Democrats did, a 26-point drop. That is a drastic change. Nearly 2/3 of Democrats used to believe that most people who want to get ahead can do so if they work hard. Today, just 45% of Democrats believe this. That's a 20% drop. Okay. Among Republicans, the change was negligible. It went from 73 to 77. 4%, virtually unnoticeable. How about the question of whether racial discrimination is the main reason many black people can't get ahead these days? In 1994, 39% of Democrats and 26% of Republicans felt this way. 14 years before the U.S. elected a black president. Now, after 8 years of Obama in the White House, 64% of Democrats say racism is the main reason blacks can't get ahead, while 14% of Republicans do. So, Republican has been cut in half, while the Democrats have been doubled. 8 years after a black president, double the amount of Democrats say racism is the main reason blacks can't get ahead, and half of Republicans feel that way. 1994, 44% of Republicans said the best way to secure peace was through military strength. Today, the figure is 53, increase in 9 points. Very minimal. But the Democrats who agreed with peace through strength dropped from 28 to 13. Again, cut in half. Pew also asked whether corporations make too much profit. In 1994, the gap between Democrats and Republicans on this issue was 18 percentage points. Today, it's 30. So we can see, very obviously, the Republicans aren't changing. The Republicans are remaining pretty consistent in their ideologies. The Republicans are remaining pretty centrist, moving only slightly to the right by like 4 or 5 percentage points. But the Democrats are moving to the left upwards of 30 percentage points. And so, is it any shock that we hear Donald Trump is a sexist and a xenophobe and he hates immigrants? Contrary to data, it shouldn't be surprising. Because, like I said, the Democrats are moving extremely to the left. This proves it once and for all. And it doesn't make sense, this narrative of Donald Trump being a xenophobe, that he doesn't want immigrants coming in, right? It doesn't make sense. It's not xenophobic because we get this story from Canada just yesterday. Federal government asks court to keep Canada-U.S. pact to prevent influx of refugee claimants. Well, looks like Justin Trudeau is a racist now. We've known that for a while. Canada would face an influx of refugee claimants and other ripple effects in the absence of a bilateral pact that stops would-be asylum seekers from making a claim here via the U.S., the federal government is warning. This country will suffer irreparable harm, especially amid a global pandemic, if the Federal Court of Appeal does not suspend an earlier lower court order that struck down the Safe Third Country Agreement, Ottawa argues. In July, the federal court ruled the accord unconstitutional because the United States routinely detained asylum seekers in poor conditions. It gave Ottawa 6 months until January 22nd to fix the policy and make sure it complies with the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms before the pact becomes invalid. On Friday, the appeal court will hear a motion by the federal government to extend the deadline until a full appeal can be heard on a later date. Canada is trying to reject and deny these asylum seekers because they realize and recognize having a massive influx of immigrants is a bad idea and will destroy the culture of your country, or at least change it permanently. Maybe for the better, maybe not. Likely not. Well, guess Donald Trump doesn't look so much like the bad guy anymore. Now that this is, proven to not be racially motivated. It doesn't make any sense to me why people view why people view Donald Trump based on his treatment of immigrants, as racist, because he doesn't treat them poorly. Barack Obama treated immigrants from the southern border into the United States worse than Donald Trump has, and still Donald Trump is viewed as this racist. Barack Obama destroyed American politics. Barack Obama took a country that was ready for racial reconciliation, and he blew it up for his own political gain. And now Donald Trump is left with the remnants. Donald Trump, as I said before, he was the witness to the murder. But everyone saw him holding the knife. He took the knife out of the body. And everyone saw him with the knife. And everyone said, look! There's the murderer. It's all ridiculous. It's all ridiculous. All right. On to something different. I can't do this anymore. Hunter Biden. The story that's been breaking over the last week. The Hunter Biden story is embarrassing for Joe Biden, and that's why the media are covering for him. From Washington Examiner. No matter which way you cut it, the graphic Hunter Biden story published last week by the New York Post is humiliating to his father Joe Biden's campaign, which is precisely why major media outlets don't want to talk about it. This is true. Okay, there are new polls coming out from people like Gallup and even the national polling averages. And the gap between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is shrinking ever so slightly, but it is. It's shrinking. Last week it was at over 10 points. Now it's less than 9.5. It is shrinking. The gap is shrinking. Now, Donald Trump has a lot of ground to make up if he wants to win the election, but the gap is shrinking. This is changing people's minds. Hopefully, the minds of people in the right places. As I've said already, I think the states that are going to decide the election are Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and I'm going to add a fifth. North Carolina. I think North Carolina is going to have a bigger impact on this election than the other 4 states. I think Pennsylvania is going to go red. I think Michigan's going to go red. I think Wisconsin and Minnesota are going to go blue. Minnesota might actually go red, and if it does, that will win the election for Trump. But North Carolina is really the only true toss-up state that could go either way. And so, hopefully, enough people in North Carolina are going to see this story and change their votes. When they do talk about it, it's like the 2 stories that the New York Times has done. The paper on Sunday took a deep dive into little behind-the-scenes dramas at the New York Post. In advance of the story's publication, many Post staff members questioned whether the paper had done enough to verify the authenticity of the hard drive's contents, said 5 people with knowledge of the tabloid's inner workings. Read the New York Times report. Staff members also had concerns about the reliability of its sources and its timing, the people said. Okay, now what about that email purporting to show a Ukrainian having thanked Hunter Biden for giving him the opportunity to meet your father? The Ukrainian, an executive at the shady Burisma energy company where Hunter Biden was paid for unknown services, said it was an honor and pleasure. It contradicts Joe Biden's assurances that he has never been involved with his son's extensive overseas business dealings. Okay, we know this narrative that that Joe Biden never met or never profited from Hunter Biden's dealings, because now we know the Biden campaign has come out and said, maybe Joe Biden met some of these people? ? Come on, that's the best you can offer. Now we know Joe Biden has met some of these Burisma executives, and we know that he was making money off the back of his son. We know now that Joe Biden was using his son, Hunter Biden, as an intermediary to line his pockets with various corporations across the globe. Ukraine, China, Russia, the whole shebang. Silence. The real story, you fool, is about the reporters who questioned the New York Post's decision to publish the emails and other materials, including the series of a bizarre and embarrassing Hunter Biden selfies. Say no more of trifling emails. Oof. So now we have video of Hunter Biden smoking a crack pipe and banging a prostitute. That's a little embarrassing. But the left keep decrying it as Russian disinformation. Okay, well, there are two main problems with that story. One, it's not, and we know that from the National Intelligence Committee. The director of National Intelligence came out and said over and over and over again, this is not Russian disinformation. There is no evidence of that. And his assistant is, vice director, assistant director, whatever, has come out and confirmed this. It is not Russian disinformation. But still, people keep crying, it's Russian disinformation. It's not. This is a real story. You just don't like it because it's targeting your own guy. And that brings me to the second problem with the story. When has the left ever decried Russian disinformation? They loved Russian disinformation when it targeted Donald Trump. The whole Russiagate story was based in Russian disinformation. And it turns out there's no there. There was no evidence to support that that Donald Trump made any sort of illegal dealings with Russia. Now, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that Joe Biden was making illegal dealings with his son Hunter and Burisma and China and Russia. In fact, Fox News just came out with a story earlier, I think it was yesterday, that they now have the receipt that Hunter Biden signed when he dropped off his laptop at the computer repair store that resulted in this story breaking. And the FBI had this story for a year. They sat on it and did nothing. They sat on it and did nothing. The Democrats are protecting their own. The Democrats, which control every major arm of media, Facebook, Twitter, CNN, MSNBC, even areas of Fox, YouTube, Google. The Democrats control every major arm of dissemination of information, which is how they're able to get away with this. Now, I don't think they're going to be able to get away with stuff like this for much longer. I don't. Because plenty of people are now beginning to see it. People like me are starting to disseminate this information. So, they're not going to get away with it, at least not for much longer. People are going to figure out the truth. They're going to see that the Democrats are covering for Joe Biden, and they're going to choose their vote. Some people, like me, will likely hold their nose and vote Donald Trump. I think a lot of people across the United States are going to vote that way. A lot more than you think will. Republicans are 1/5 less likely to vote to reveal who they're going to vote for than Democrats are. Pollsters have to work 5 times as hard to figure out who's going to vote for Republicans. That means there is a massive, massive silent vote for Donald Trump. Because again, Donald Trump has a 94% approval rating amongst the Republican Party. Donald Trump's going to get at least 90% of the Republican vote. With that, I think he's going to win re-election. The Republican Party affiliation has grown a couple of points. The Democratic Party affiliation has been halved. And the Independent Voter Party affiliation has doubled. So, we're not necessarily seeing a bunch of Democratic votes for Donald Trump, but we are seeing a bunch of Democratic Party votes against Joe Biden. This is why he's going to win re-election. Donald Trump's going to win. Like him, hate him, I'm making the call now. Thanks for watching. Like I said at the beginning of the video, please hit that like and subscribe button. Share it with your friends. Help me grow this channel so that I can help combat the false narratives floating around the social media sphere. See you guys tomorrow.